Welcome to Your Number Man, the podcast where we dive deep into business, finance, and entrepreneurship. I am your host, Johan, but you can call me Your Number Man. Over the years, I've worn many hats in the business world, from marketing ace to financial expert. And now I'm here to share my expertise with you. Each week, we'll explore strategies, insights, and stories to help you navigate the complexities of running a successful business. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting, this podcast is your go-to resource for all things business and finance. So grab a drink, settle in, and let's unlock the secrets to building and thriving business together. This is Your Number Man, where we help you achieve a bigger life in business. Hello, everybody. Now, today is going to be a little bit of a different kind of podcast. I have got with me in my studio, actually, it's not my studio, it's her studio. Her name is Jenna Clemente. Jenna is my producer, the real brains behind the podcast. She's been producing it for me over the last 2 months. Jenna, shall I say, welcome in your own studio.
Thank you. It's good to be a guest, but also interview you.
Yes.
There has been some burning questions in the background that I've been wanting to ask. And I have asked, and you thought, yep, this is going to be a good episode. So exciting stuff today.
Well, when you asked me, I said, I'm just going to run away. I'm the one asking questions. Yeah.
Yes. Well, you've had this whole season of asking other people questions. Now the tables have turned.
Okay. I don't know what you're going to ask me, but let's go. Fire away.
Well, first off, can you give us a brief overview of what you do and the exact services that you offer?
All right, Jenna, thanks for that. That's great, because I might have been a little bit confusing over the past few weeks, and people hear I'm an accountant and I talk about marketing, and then I talk about guests who's a little bit into coaching as well. To be specific, I am a management accountant, so I'm not doing tax. I live and breathe numbers for business purposes, but I'm not registered as a tax agent. I like to focus on helping people on their costings, their efficiencies, their pricing, their forecasting, their budgeting, measuring, analyzing their business to bring out more efficiencies and effectively, it sounds a little bit cheeky from me to say that, but help you to make more money. And eventually you've got to pay more tax for that matter. And that's when you're going to get a good tax accountant to help you with that as well. So my strengths would be costing and pricing strategies. Financial modeling is, where's the business now? Where can it be in 6 months' time, in a year? Focus on your cash flow. That's my strength.
So why did you decide to focus on basically profit maximization, and why do you think it's so important for businesses?
Well, the core factor for a business is you got an idea, you got a passion, or you got a hobby, and you turn your hobby into something that generates income. And as I've said before in a lot of my podcasts, is to be sustainable. That means to keep on going. You have to have a bottom line to feed back into the business. Profit is almost the fuel that you put in your car to go forward. So there's a lot of small businesses out there that would probably think, I'm all right if I can just be able to pay my school fees for the kids and, pay the bond or the mortgage for the house and put a bit of food on the table, I'll be all right. But it will not be sustainable. It's a business. The sole purpose is to make profit. And we don't have to feel guilty about making a profit, and do the best for ourselves and serve our customers and our clients.
Well, that's great. I completely agree. I think every business needs a profit.
Yes.
I think some people just struggle with how to get that profit. And I guess that's where you come in.
Oh, that's correct. And a lot of businesses really struggling with that, which I can understand. It's not easy. I would encourage anybody that's got an idea, really think about perhaps starting your own business, but it is not easy. It takes a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I wouldn't say blood, sweat, and tears, perhaps much sweat and tears in the first few months, the first years, the first couple of years for that matter.
How often do you really see people turning a profit when they've just started a business?
To turn a profit, well, some people hit the ground running. It all depends on the industry. It depends on their research. It depends on how much money, how much cash flow they have. Usually, I would say it's a long turnaround time. You're going to get into business. You might land a few good clients straight away. Sometimes it takes a year before you get your first client. I mean, I had a client Well, actually, that was back in South Africa, that started a new advertising method on buses back in the 90s. And this client took a year before he sold his first deal. 4 years later, this person basically paid off his house, bought a few more rental properties. So first year was really tough. When I first meet a client, how easy it is for them to turn profit from the word go, I would say not easy. It's hard work, but it's fun. A lot of people say it's not fun. It's much more fun just working for a salary, and you get your long service leave, and if you feel a bit sick, you don't have to go to work. And over weekends, you got your time for yourself. Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. But it's a different kind of fun. It's different stroke for different blokes, for that matter. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think if you do something that you love and you're passionate about, then it's very fun.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah.
Who would you say is your ideal client?
I cover small business industries. And when I say small business, it could be anybody from, basically from start up. I would look at if their possibility to pay themselves a wage within the next few months or half a year for that matter, up to businesses that's 10 million, 15 million a year kind of turnover. But I would say a small business is perhaps you got your owners still involved in a business. They would run the day-to-day business for that matter. You might not have a dedicated accountant on board for your business. You might have outsourced some of your marketing. You might have a few admin people in the office as well. In terms of industry, most of my clients, probably 60% are in manufacturing or small manufacturing or processing for that matter. I've got a few clients that provides services. We're talking about therapists, occupational therapists, people that's got their own consulting kind of business as well. So I like to cater for that. I've got a few tradie businesses as well that I help. So it's different industries, but to narrow it down, it's people that really got a passion, they want to make it work, and they're happy to sit down with me, and we're going to do a little bit of hard work. It's something that we're going to do together. So they would need to do a bit of hard work themselves, put a bit of elbow grease or brain juices into the whole thing as well, for that matter.
Yeah, so it's a done with you service.
That's right, yeah.
Now, I'd love to hear about when a potential client first reaches out to you, what are the first steps that they can prepare for?
They can prepare for a very bold, angry guy to ask him, where's your budget? Have you got a budget? How's your pocket? No, that's not totally true, but I would ask them, what is your business? Who are your clients? Where do you see your business in 2-3 years as well? Where do you want your business to go? You might get another person to help you with your admin work, or do you really want to grow? You want in 2 or 3 years' time, you want to have 5 or 6 people in your employment for that matter. So we need to understand from the word go is what direction you want to take your business.
Okay. And do you do a initial consultation or discovery session?
Yeah, I like discovery session with my clients. Can see me at my office in Gola or meet up in a coffee shop. I mean, the best kind of business plans and ideas was actually, on a little bit of a serviette in a coffee shop.
Really?
So, yeah, that would be my discovery session. Or a few clients at Interstate, we get onto Zoom or Google Meet or Skype or whatever.
Right.
It is complimentary for the first half an hour, and we'll see if you're the right fit. We'll talk a little bit about numbers, where we're going.
And how important is it for you to tailor the experience to your client's needs and goals?
Well, like I said, they have to give me an idea where they want to go. So I need to understand their needs in terms of what do they expect of their business. I also would like to know if they employ people, what is the culture of the business? So it all depends on my strategy as well. It's a question of if they're going to invest in people, if they're going to invest in capital, if they're going to invest in their culture, in their marketing strategy and their public relations.
And once you have that need or want locked down, what are usually the next steps that you guys take?
Okay, well, we need to formalize the whole agreement. And then I would like to analyze their numbers. I would like to have a look at the historic numbers. I'm a big margin man in terms of the gross profit. A lot of people say, I've got a 70% gross profit, but I don't put labor, for instance, into the cost of sales. or I've got a gross profit of 15%, but it doesn't mean your business is not viable. It could just be the structure. So we'll go back, analyze the business historic, where we're going, having a look at your margins, your pricing strategy, your cost efficiencies. Where are the areas that you can perhaps really focus on your efficiencies in the business, your processes, your procedures. We might get an HR specialist in, we might get a strategy specialist in, or we can speak to digital marketing people to boost your sales. So, cash flow is the king, but then your margin is the queen. Thinking about a big chessboard where everybody evolves around a king. You've got to protect that king at all cost as well. But your queen is the actual one that puts down a strategy. She's the one that can move to different directions as well. So that's how your gross profit really is so important, to protect that king as well.
Can you share any sort of challenging project you've faced and how you navigated it?
Yes, there is a lot of them actually. I mean, you don't go to the doctor if you feel totally healthy, do you? So it's really looking at where the actual problem is, and what Rob said in one of our interviews, my friend Rob Chisholm, the wise mentor, if we know the problem, half the problem is solved already. So we look for the symptoms, basically the three major issues. Usually it's cash flow, GP, and sales. I had an experience with a client that really had a problem with sales, and we really sat down. The GP margin was good. The cash flow was okay, but we saw where the cash were going if we're not going to get sales up. And I said to him, where do we going to go with sales? We looked at different options in terms of, is it going to be Google ads? Does he need to employ a salesperson? Because, people would always say, 50% of marketing works. You just got to figure out which 50%. So we didn't know exactly which part, but we sort of done a bit of a cost analysis through to it. So I said, okay, you can either go through Google ads, SEO, get a salesperson in, or you yourself can perhaps start networking. So we've done basically cost-benefit analysis is the right word for it.
Okay.
What can we do? And what do we want to achieve? And I think that is the strategy. And we arrived at the fact that networking is going to be a great idea. So it's not a lot of extra time. And then Google ad spend would be a great concept as well, because he was in the retail business for motor cars as well. So that really worked. That changed the business around. So the GP stayed the same. The GP was great. Sales went up. So bottom line, overheads didn't get up or didn't go up that much, a little bit of extra for marketing in terms of Google ads, but the bottom line, basically all the extra money that you made from your GP went to the bottom line as well. So that's how we combated the sales issue as well.
So you even gave your clients a marketing strategy?
It's technically a marketing strategy, but it's based on your numbers, because you've got to do your numbers. You're going to say for everything that you want to do in the business, you've got to weigh the fact is, hey, if I'm going to spend $1 on it, am I going to get $1 back with interest for that matter? So that is the concept. And we're not exactly sure which marketing would work, but let's do an analysis first before we run off to an ad agency or a social media specialist. Let's see what can we afford, bring it back to what our culture in the business is and what do you feel more comfortable. So we went straight to a Google ad specialist. We went straight to all the different areas where we can do a bit of networking, and that basically solved a lot of the problems. I had clients with cash flow issues as well. And cash flow is, if you go to the doctor and you arrive with a cough, you can't really treat that cough. You got to treat what led to that cough. So this client with cash flow problem, we looked at everything. We looked at sales, like I said. We look at your gross profit. Perhaps they are too financially burdened for that matter. So they look good on a profit and loss. And that's another thing as well. A lot of companies might look excellent in terms of when you look at a profit and loss. And I think I covered that in one of my first episodes as well. They look fantastic on a profit and loss, they're making a profit. But a lot of those companies go broke because they don't look at their cash. They don't realize what are their financial payments to the bank. Because when you do a budget, you obviously don't take that into account as well. No, I'll be fine, But you don't take into account, well, my profit is $20,000 a month, but you might have $15,000 a month in terms of money that you have to pay back to the bank and in interest as well. So we've done cash flow scenarios. We've gone beyond budgeting and done cash flow budgeting, really planned. We've gone back to the bank, done a bit of consolidation of the debt. The bank asks us a few questions. Luckily, they didn't have to put their, all their kids and all their livestock on as a security for the bank. The bank just needed a really structured plan, which we wrote, and they accepted it based on the current equity of the company. And voila, problem solved.
Okay, so you were able to get their debt wiped
Oh,
pretty much.
I wouldn't say wiped. We shrunk it. They're going to pay off a little bit longer. We went to all the different banks, to Commonwealth, NAB, Bank SA.
Okay.
And I think eventually we found some sort of credit union that's done the best deal for us
Right.
in terms of consolidating.
Yeah, you're almost full service because you
Oh,
help with the budget, you
well,
maximize the profit.
You know what I say about a person that can do everything. Jack of all trades,
trades.
master of none. I would like to think that I'm an expert when it comes to finance and financial. I'm not allowed to say the word financial planning because that's a person that would look after your soup and your pensions, but financial analysis and financial forecasting and costing. But I do believe all the experience that I've gathered over my years, plus all the people that I know in business, and that is what you get with time as well, and networks. And, I see that as part of my assets as well. I've got a whole group of experts out there, people that can help. I mean, if you need legal advice, I can put you in the right direction. If you need people to help you with your capital gains tax, yes, we can go to this person. If you need to go and see a bank, I know some people at banks that might be able to help with certain scenarios as well. So, yeah, that's 2 success stories, which I'm quite proud of, that I recently faced.
And how long do your clients usually need your services for?
Well, Jenna, I would like to say for the rest of my life, but a good indication for going to a therapist, for that matter, is to see how fast that therapist can get you into a situation. And not that I'm saying that people is going to come and see me needs therapy, for that matter. But a good indication for a therapist how good is the short turnaround of their clients. Say, okay, thanks a lot. You've sorted out my problem here. I'm going to go back and face the world. I'm not an alcoholic anymore. I've stopped smoking, or I'm not angry with anybody I see on the street anymore. So for me, I've got clients that's been there for 5 years, and I'm probably going to do another 5 years, which I see on a monthly basis. We do get together, basically smaller clients, but not too small. They don't really have a board of directors except for themselves, really. And then I would come in as almost like a board member, where we sit every month and we sit around a table and analyze everything, mostly on the numbers as well. But we talk about marketing, we talk about human resources, we talk about operational ideas, because the operational manager will probably sit into the meeting as well. But usually, I would say a good time period would be anything between 6 and 12 months. And it depends, it could be once a week that we need to have a catch-up. It could be once a month, perhaps once a quarter as well. But there will be a little bit of homework involved.
Okay. What would you say is your favorite success story?
I actually did cover it in one of my previous podcasts, the one with the 2 blokes, which I've changed a little bit as well.
Right.
Can you remember? They were in the motor industry.
Yeah.
And what episode was that? Episode
I want to say 4.
4, where you remember the episode? Okay, well,
Yeah.
let me just explain quickly, and people can always go back and listen to that story again, because I really feel proud about it. The 2 guys, I think one was an engineer, and the other one was more in marketing and understand the whole motor industry business. And they got together and they basically started creating parts for motor cars. They were really on a good roll here in South Australia with one of the bigger firms, and everybody probably know who I'm talking about, that gone bust. And they lost a lot of business. Their GP has gone down, and they saw their accountant for tax purposes. And the accountant said, well, yeah, I can make you pay no tax because there's no bloody profit. There's no profit. Right. So you got to get back and make a profit. And I've got this bloke, his name is Johan. He's, a real beauty, a real gem, and he can help you to really dig into your numbers. And that's when we came on board back in 2019 or somewhere there. We really looked into the GP, realized the margin wasn't correct because a lot of things weren't included there. We got that margin back. We contacted salespeople and online sales, which cut out the middleman a lot, so more margin coming back to the clients as well. And they had a few offers to buy the business, but they're running the business, probably not working very hard. They're probably on a golf course somewhere else now. They've worked hard, and they were very close to shutting the doors and divorces and all that nasty stuff, but they pushed through, and the business is going strength to strength. Yes.
Yeah, I think that is a key factor in making a business successful, determination.
Yeah,
Because really,
determination.
it
Yeah.
goes like a roller coaster. Some months are up, some months are down. Sometimes
Yes.
it's a big drought. You could go years without making money.
Yes.
But often people who persist eventually find their way.
Oh, well, definitely. Always think about Rocky, he's in that ring and he gets beaten down, he falls and he stands up and he goes again. But in the real story about Sylvester Stallone as well, how he was so determined to become an actor. And he wrote his whole script of Rocky as well, which is actually based on a true story. And he sat somewhere in Hollywood 2 days waiting to get an appointment with a movie director to say, I want to do this movie and I want to star in this movie and I can be your Rocky. And everybody just wrote him off. He eventually sold his own dog to, just to keep going as well. And that dog actually played in one of his first movies as well.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
So anyway.
Well, I would love to know, have you ever had someone come to you and you've had to tell them, look, it's not going to work out for you? Like, have you ever told someone to redirect their business or their idea?
Yes. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does happen, I mean, I'm not sitting there and being a Mr. Negative from the start. I mean, I actually been told by people I'm perhaps too positive because I like positive energy. I think it does create a bit of magic as well when you look at ideas. But there is a lot of instances where you've seen a person, we've done the numbers, we had our entry interview, then I decided, okay, do a bit more number crunching, really looked at the market, I looked at the industry, what is the industry benchmarks on some ideas. And we just have to come to the conclusion, we can give it a crack, but it's probably not going to work. During my time here in Australia, since I've been doing this consulting, there's been a few of my clients that probably didn't really make it. But, I'm not a big spiritual guy and all this kind of stuff, but I believe something is not happening to you, it's happening for you. A lot of the stuff happens
for a reason.
For a reason, perhaps, if you want to go that path and believe in that. But when one door shuts, another door might be open. Perhaps not in a business context. Perhaps you realize you're going to go back to uni and you're going to study quantum physics, for that matter.
But I often find successful business owners have a few failed businesses as well.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe it wasn't right, but it helped them learn for
It helps you learn. Yeah, it's cool. And myself as well. I mean, I was so stupid when I was in business. I thought I knew. I was sitting with a marketing degree. I thought, I know exactly how this works. I got into business with a few other owners as well back in the 90s in South Africa, and they were more in your kind of, because it was like a media kind of business. They were all journalists and that kind of. So I was the only person that knows a little bit about finance. It's all right. I can do finance. I'll be the financial director.
Right.
And so you think you know a lot, and I made a lot of mistakes in business. I mean, the business was still going on, but eventually I realized, well, that's probably not for me. Start something else. Some of that worked, some of it did not work as well.
Well, what situation would you say people really benefit from your services? Is it when they've already just started, they're building it up, they're already going well, they just want to maximize it, or they're in the trenches, they're looking terrible?
That's a good question. And again, I probably can't say, I can look at any situation. I would like to say that, and that's going to make me a jack of all trades again. I'm the guy that you call if you're sort of like in the trenches, I would think. It's a specialist. Say, hey, there's an elephant that fell down a hole. We got to get that elephant out, And that's when I'll probably come and do my best job. But because of my experience, most of my clients are perfectly fine. I see them on a monthly basis. There's some issues which you sort out on the spot. We carry on through with their business. We can sit and have a chat about your podcast business as well, or your podcast studio. And we can sit here for ages just talking about ideas and where this business is going to go to. I almost get a little bit too enthusiastic. I really love talking about people, and I love to see young people like yourself just like being so excited about business and about ideas, and wow, I can't hold back my energy. Then it's like, it's like Rob said as well, us as small business owners are the real heroes in life. I know there's a lot of people that's much more heroic than we are. We could look at sport people and specifically people in military that gave their life for the country. That's real heroes. But we a small business must not write ourselves off as well. We inspire, we go out, we find opportunities. As a matter of fact, Elon Musk was also a small business owner, and look where he is now.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we were born in the same town in South Africa, both from Pretoria for that matter.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll have to give him a ring and see how he's going.
Oh,
We probably played rugby together.
Oh,
I don't know, we might have.
Yeah.
I played against his school, so I don't know.
Okay.
He's a bit younger than me.
well, I just have one more question. Is there anything else you'd like to share that potential clients should know about working with you?
Yeah, I would say if they're willing to put in the work, I'm pretty flexible usually, but I would like to have them putting a bit of homework into the business. Like I said before, I'm not going to sit there and do all the work. There will be structure. People probably perceive me as a little bit easygoing. It might not always be the case. And I like to think of myself, I'm not a difficult person, but we will have to have the commitment from the person. Yes, you got a passion, and yes, you want to take that leap to put extra elbow grease and brain juices into your business.
You really encourage people to work on their business, not in their
Yes,
business.
that's right. That's right. And it brings it back again. Geez, I sound like a real nerd. That brings me back to that book, The E-Myth, where Michael Gerber talked about, even if you work for yourself, work on the business, not in the business. Because you are the business owner. As a business owner, you've got to be an entrepreneur, you've got to be a manager, and you've got to be a technician. So, for instance, let's say, Jenna, you are a physiotherapist and you decided to start a physiotherapist business. You know a lot about physiotherapy. So you're a technician. You need to manage this business now. You need to get business in. You've got to send invoices out. You've got to reconciliate your account. You've got to come and speak to Johan, your management accountant, and see, is my margins right? And you've got to be an entrepreneur as well. You've got to think about how you're going to grow this business. So it's only you at this stage, and you're planning to, for the next 2 years, expand your business. But at this stage, you almost want to write a job description for each one of the Jenna. Jenna number 1, physio. Jenna number 2, the manager. Jenna number 3, the entrepreneur. And that's where you got to really put it work on your business.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well,
Yeah.
you've definitely answered all of my questions.
Okay.
So thank you for having me on. This was fun.
Okay, Jenna, that is so great, being in your studio, being interviewed by you.
Yeah.
And for me to sit here, and I guess we'll have to do a numeric as well.
Yes. Do you have a numeric for me?
There will be a numeric for you, and it's coming up shortly.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna. And today's numeric is: Jenna's wine had a good year, but business was stuck in second gear. The problem found was GP, and solving that was the real key. With cash now clear, nothing more is yet to fear. And that's a wrap. Thanks for joining me, and I hope today's session was valuable and you feel inspired to take action in your business. Remember, business success is about more than just numbers. It's about passion, determination, and a relentless drive to pursue your dreams through the help of numbers. So keep pushing forward, learning and striving for a bigger life in your business. If you found this podcast valuable, be sure to subscribe. Follow us on socials and leave a review if you enjoyed today's episode. And one last thing, if you want access to additional resources that will help you fast track your cash flow and financial freedom, visit yournumberman.com.au. Until next time, this is Johan Zanik, your number man, signing off. Thanks again.